In South London, the Croydon Youth Theatre Organisation, or CYTO, is performing Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. After opening night, the members spoke to me about the production and the theatre.
My friend's been going here for years, and she wanted me and my other friend to come and see a production in January, and we did, and I just found it so enjoyable, and I was like, God, I'd really want to be doing what they're doing.
Might you be disengaged Tuesday?
For you, I would throw over anybody.
I do wish you'd tell me how to retain my youth.
I really like all the stuff that we've done this year, because in January we had another musical, The Adventures of Mr. Toad, and then in March we had a National Youth Theatre Connections play, Kiss, Marry, Push Off Cliff, and we've just done The Picture of Dorian Gray.
That for every sin he now committed, the stain would reflect the surface of the picture.
Impossible and horrible.
Horrible.
That kind of organisational, kind of like helping hand, like stage kind of role, backstage, as much as I love that, I also love being on stage and acting itself, and I've been able to have both of those experiences in CYTO as well.
The aim of life is self-development, Mr. Gray.
CYTO says its mission is to make theatre affordable for young people to participate in, but arts campaigners are warning that in many communities in England, these opportunities are rare. In his studio in Margate, the CEO of Arts Emergency, a campaign supporting working class people in the arts, told me that barriers to access are deep-rooted.
It's poor pay and working conditions across these industries, it's high tuition fees and the lack of funding for arts and humanities in university, it's the curriculum in state schools, comparing that to private schools that have theatres and studios, and it's all of it.
Earlier this month, the new British Prime Minister Keir Starmer appointed a cabinet containing the highest proportion of ministers from state school backgrounds in history. One of these appointments was the new Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy, who has said that arts access would be at the heart of her work. The new Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, Lisa Nandy, has said that for too many working class children, geography is destiny. She said her department will commit to widening access to the arts for all. In an interview on the Rest is Politics Leading podcast, Lisa Nandy talked about why some local arts organisations are struggling to reach people.
When it comes to private philanthropy, it tends to be in London and the big great institutions. Arts outside of London tends to be council funded, and council funding has been devastated over the last decade and a half, and it's meant that the arts is often the first thing to be cut.
When the Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition came into power in 2010, the then Chancellor George Osborne justified the cuts as necessary to balancing the budget deficit. While the new Labour government have not committed to funding increases, they have guaranteed councils a multi-year base level of funding. But with budget cuts already set for next year, some local arts organisations might not feel any security soon. To see the impact of the cuts, I went to Nottingham, where 5 venues are facing a 100% cut to their council funding next year. From this building, Nottingham City Council have announced spending cuts for next year, which they hope will plug a £53 million deficit in their budget. Arts organisations were the first to experience a 100% cut to their funding. The council said that although it understands the effects of the cuts, it has had to make tough decisions. The Nottingham Playhouse Theatre is one of the organisations affected.
We've lost £60,000 a year by Nottingham City Council's budget cuts. And it's quite a clunky term, but really £60,000 is how much the whole Shine programme costs per year. So essentially that cut, if we weren't able to be a resilient business, we could lose our entire outreach programme.
There's so much creative talent that can be nurtured, but it needs that opportunity. So it's really just that awareness of the wider impact of the arts that we really are looking for, followed by hopefully some funding and policies to support that.
The National Theatre in London is a partner of the Nottingham Playhouse. Their Deputy Director of Learning, Liza Valance, spoke to me about how supporting local theatres is key to their outreach work.
So it's our responsibility as a national organisation to be able to use our kind of convening power and our leverage to be able to support our local partners. And that's why we've created a network that we call our Theatre Nation Partnership Network. And we've been able to bring in some Arts Council funding to devolve out to those partners to make sure that they're able to do what they do best.
Liza Valance also says that she'd really like to see more state support for arts education in schools.
There's some really interesting research coming out of places like the Cultural Learning Alliance around the importance of creativity in education, and not just in terms of creative subjects, but in terms of embedding a creative pedagogy across all curriculum areas. So I think it'd be really brilliant for our new government to be able to lean on some of that research that is coming out of the education and the cultural sectors. Experts are telling us what they need.
Since 2010, there has been a 47% decrease in British pupils taking creative subjects like drama at GCSE level. The new Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, has just announced an upcoming review of the national curriculum, as well as a plan to recruit more arts teachers to tackle this. Members of the Croydon Youth Theatre organisation say going there creates opportunities for them which are not always available in school.
I got to choose my options for GCSE, and the first kind of one that stood out was drama, was that kind of acting, where maybe some of the teachers aren't the best, whereas you come here and you see what amazing directing looks like and what amazing actors around you are like.
You get to be in plays if you want to, and then you get to write plays if you want to, and I thought such a wide range of different experiences that I can gain.
The now Labour government have promised that every child will be able to study an arts subject until they're 16. While campaigners hope this improves access, they also say it depends on reversing years of underinvestment.